Hi guys. When I look back on 2020, it feels like the world just tilted on its axis. And it's just never tilted back the same. You know what I mean? Can you relate? We all knew life would change suddenly, but in 2020, it showed us how quickly our routines, our communities, and even our sense of safety would be rewritten overnight. I feel like it has never gone back. It has never gone back. For me, fear was one of the first emotions that really took hold of me. I really thought, this is it. This is it. This is what we've talked about, Not just the fear of the virus itself, though that was very real, but the fear of the unknown, the fear of what's coming next. Every trip to the grocery store or every call to the grocery store for a pickup felt like a risk. Every cough in the room made us look around, being nervous, wearing masks. That level of constant anxiety, it changes you. It really does. For years to come, for moving forward, more aware of every little thing you used to take for granted. I feel that year, those changes changed people in regards to the relationships with politicians, the public, their rights, and taking this from me and taking that from me and all that kind of stuff. And then my grief with my dad. In 2020, I lost my dad. Losing him was a year that already felt so much has been taken away, and it was devastating. It was a kind of loss that layered over everything else hanging in the world. Grief changes you. It makes you reflect on what really matters. I got Charlie Brown on my knee, so I keep looking down at him. It deepened my awareness of time, of family, of what matters, of life, of how precious our connections are, facing our fears, that sort of thing. My dad was someone who followed an anonymous program. If you're familiar with an anonymous programs, there's many out there. And he lived by those slogans. And those slogans still guide me today. One day at a time, keep it simple, this too shall pass, I have a choice, on and on. Those weren't just words for him, they were a way of life. And now in my own challenges, I find myself leaning on those same phrases. They resonate with me. They remind me to breathe, to stay present, to stop and smell the roses, as my dad would say. Amongst all the chaos of what might happen tomorrow. Do I lose it some days? Yes, and I have been lately. But I hold on to that strength that he had, those slogans, their strength in words. And that's part of the legacy he left me. And I carry it forward with gratitude. I do. It wasn't just me who seen change in 2020. I know many of you guys did too. I saw changes in my kids. And that's something that has stayed with me. Kids lost their playgrounds, their classrooms, their birthday parties, their gatherings, their inviting friends over. They had to adopt to a world where hugs were only in the circle, where high fives suddenly weren't allowed, where 6 feet away from each other was something that was a law. Some kids became more quieter, some became more anxious, some grew up faster than they should have. And I don't know if we really reflect about how that really has impacted the children and ourselves. My own son talks about the time, 2020, as a turning point for him. He's talked about it time and time again. He says it's when he learned how to learn independently, because suddenly school wasn't just about sitting in a classroom with a teacher. It was about doing your own independent learning. The teacher wasn't there to guide step by step. It became about logging in on certain times, reading, watching, figuring things out, sending things through email. We did some homeschooling at home. We kept Silas home longer than a lot of other kids went back to school. We kept him home longer. And though it was hard, he says it gave him confidence. It showed him that he could manage his own learning, his own schedule, and then independence had stayed, that learning independence stayed with him in a positive way, But friendships shifted, for adults and kids alike, friendships shifted. Friendships became about distance, about phone calls. Remember those FaceTime chats? I chatted with my parents through FaceTime, waving in the car from the driveway. Some friendships grew stronger because those people checked on you more often, right? Others faded away because unless they seen you in public or going out, they never checked in. That face-to-face contact was required in some friendships. It was interesting how things could dissolve. 2020 taught me that, it taught me who I really was and the strength I had. It also reminded me how much I value human connection. And you can get that not just about face-to-face. You can get that through the internet, through YouTube, through Facebook. You don't have to sit across from each other. You can have a coffee, one on each side of a phone or computer. Personalities change, and they changed, and mine changed, and my son changed. And a lot of people became more introverted, realizing they liked the quiet life more than the rush. Work changed, realizing you could work from home. Some people became more outspoken, more determined not to waste any more of their time, and more outspoken about the government, about my rights this and my rights that. I became more reflective, more aware that life is fragile, and that I want to spend more time creating, connecting, and doing things that actually matter to me. But I also carry gratitude. Gratitude for the way life was. Gratitude for the way families pulled together. Gratitude for the teachers who had to reinvent education basically overnight. Gratitude for frontline workers who kept things going, who kept going to work, moving forward while the rest of us stayed inside. Gratitude for my baby Silas, who showed me that even in chaos, kids can find resilience and growth. And gratitude for my dad, whose program slogans echo in my heart today and remind me daily of strength, patience, and faith. Wow. This has been a very deep conversation. So guys, when I say 2020 changed me, I meant it in every sense. It made me more fearful. It has made me more appreciative. It made me it made me rethink friendships, how I shop or interact. I don't have to physically go out. I can have things delivered. But it also made me more hopeful when we got through it. It brought grief with the loss of my dad, but it also gave me a different perspective to live more fully in his memory, in his strength, in his resilience. And here we are now, in 2025, looking back, I'm still carrying those lessons. I still reflect back on how the world has changed. I still carry those scars. But hopefully, I also carry the reminder that we can handle hard things. We can grow through challenges, and that connection, whether in person or through YouTube or through a screen on Facebook, is something worth holding on to. Thank goodness for technology during that time. Without that, what would 2020 look like? So guys, thank you so much. And until next time, bye for now.